Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, Robert Meyer Burnett. I invite you to watch and listen to the Designing Hollywood podcast, brought to you by Martika Ibarra and the great, legendary Hollywood costume designer, Marilyn Vance. I am afforded the wonderful opportunity of co-hosting the show. If you are interested in the magic of Hollywood, the design of Hollywood, the clothes of Hollywood, watch the Designing Hollywood podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts from, or find the video version on YouTube. That's right, the Designing Hollywood podcast. Why would you ever want to miss it? Especially if you love the movies. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it's I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your existential Mr. Rogers, and, of course, your pharaoh of physical media, Robert Meyer Burnett. Call me what you want. Everybody else does. And this is, of course, episode 88 of Let's Get Physical Media. But you know what? As I always say, it's not a show. It's not a show without your favorite German, my favorite German, the world's favorite German, all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, Mr. Dieter Bastian. Dieter, how are you today?
I'm great, Rob. I know I don't have as many titles as you have, considering Dope of Discourse, but I finally got one. He-Wolf, the He-Wolf, what was it? He-Wolf of the PGS, exactly.
He-Wolf of the PGS, yes.
He-Wolf of the PGS.
Somebody needs to make that graphic. We need a He-Wolf of the PGS graphic.
Yes. So I say, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Dieter here. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane, and welcome to the B&B Motel for Let's Get Physical Media, where we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Hopefully, some shows, and of course, Blu-rays. And Rob got his finally first package from our sponsor, so we will see what is that all about.
Do we call them our sponsor? I guess we can.
I don't know.
I don't know if there's. I would have to say. Yeah, let's call him our sponsor. A sponsor. A shout out to Matt, who has made. Let's call it Kino. What it is? Kino Lorber is now an official sponsor of the show. Actually, though, they're the second sponsor of this show, because the first sponsor is, of course, Warner Archive.
Yeah.
Warner Archive, remember last week, Night of the Iguana, baby? Yeah, and Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Both have yet to come out yet. So thanks to the great, legendary George Feltenstein over at Warner Archive. I don't know if we can officially call these companies sponsors, but hell, I think they need all the press they can get. So let's just call them that. So let's thank Warner Archive and our new sponsor, Matt at Kino Lorber, for sending me a box of 4K Kino goodness, including, of course, The Usual Suspects, which I'll show, that has all of my old special features on it. And for those of you, there has been some controversy about The Usual Suspects transfer. As somebody intimately familiar with that film, let me tell you, the transfer of The Usual Suspects is spectacular. It is spectacular. It's best the film's ever looked on home video. There is ample grain. The colors are terrific. And there's a lot of people don't understand that The Usual Suspects was a very, relatively speaking, low-budget movie. Less than $5 million. So to have it look the way it looks, spectacular. And seeing our special features was great. And there's a new, Kino Lorber produced a new interview with director of photography Tom Siegel. So I would say it's a must-buy if you like The Usual Suspects. But I'll get into what else.
Awesome.
What else Kino Lorber sent me in a while.
We will get to that in a little moment, I would presume. So how do we start, Rob? How does the box office doing?
I was going to say I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you.
Second weekend.
Okay.
How big was the drop? You know.
Oh, not as much as you might think. Let's take a gander. Here we are. This, of course, comes to us from our friend Nancy Tartaglione, who doesn't know that she's our friend, but she is. So, yo, Nancy. Here's from the Deadline box office report. Black Panther Wakanda Forever closes in on $550 million worldwide, $500 million. In its sophomore frame, its second weekend, Disney Marvel's Black Panther Wakanda Forever sent its worldwide cum well past the $500 million mark, with an estimated $546.3 million through Sunday. The split now is $288 million domestic and $258.3 million from the international box office. The Ryan Coogler-directed sequel is currently the number 8th highest-grossing Hollywood release of 2022 overseas. Globally, it is at number 7. The second offshore weekend was good for $69.8 million in 50 markets. That's a 49% drop from the opening, which is better than the majority of other MCU titles for the same suite of markets, including Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, both of which were down 56%, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home, surprisingly, was down 60% in foreign markets its second weekend. Holds were strong in parts of Europe. Germany and the Netherlands were each off by only 31%, the UK down 48%, elsewhere Australia dipped 39%, Brazil was down 43%, and Mexico and Taiwan off 45% apiece. Black Panther remains the number 1 non-local movie in all markets. At current rates and in like-for-like overseas markets, Black Panther 2 is running 22% ahead of The Batman and 9% above Thor Ragnarok. It's flat with the first Black Panther and 5% below Thor: Love and Thunder, while 32% behind Doctor Strange 2. So the international IMAX cum is 13.6 million, with 34.9 million global. Its global opening frame last weekend, Wakanda Forever scored the 3rd highest start for any Hollywood title during the pandemic era, as well as the 2nd biggest global opening of 2022 to date, and the 5th highest international launch weekend posted by any Hollywood film of the pandemic era. And last Tuesday, Black Panther 2 propelled Disney across the $3 billion mark at the worldwide box office, the 14th year that the studio has achieved the milestone. I would imagine with Avatar opening, it might pass $4 billion. Now let's go and take a gander at domestic. So here's our domestic box office. Again, this comes from not Nancy, but Anthony D'Alessandro today on Deadline. Wakanda Forever's second weekend is coming in lower than its projected $70 million, with $67.3 million. That's not necessarily something to get worried about, however, as sources keep telling me the picture's running time is what's slowing it down a bit. At the same time, that second weekend is slightly ahead of Black Adam's $67 million opening weekend. On the bright side, it's Thanksgiving week, and if people aren't seeing Wakanda Forever this weekend, then they're making an appointment to see it sometimes this week, hands down. Furthermore, there was always bound to be a steep drop in the Friday to Friday coming off the Veterans Day holiday, and previews a week ago, that number being 79% down for a $17.9 million Friday. Even though the running total for Wakanda Forever at $288 million today will be 2% behind Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness at the same point in time, let's see where the Ryan Coogler-directed film stands by the end of next Sunday. IMAX drove $4.5 million in ticket sales this past weekend, putting the exhibitor's running total at $21.4 million domestic. Social media analytics corp Relish Mix measured the social media universe for Wakanda Forever at $969 million, 8% ahead of Black Panther. The bar has lifted since 2018 as marketing expands across Instagram and TikTok. Engagement has also popped from Rihanna videos that were dropped on her YouTube channel. Greatly missing from this weekend, another tentpole that typically precedes Thanksgiving stretch before a Disney Turkey Day family title. This is the weekend where Harry Potter sequels have opened, as well as Justice League. The thing is, no one likes to program a tentpole in the wake of a Marvel movie, and Wakanda Forever didn't launch during the first week of November. So, probably pretty good. Now, let's go down and look at the box office for this week. The Menu opened this weekend, and it's in 3,000 theaters. It made $9 million, which isn't great, but relatively respectable. They screened The Chosen, which is a TV series, season 3 in theaters It made 8.2 million. 8.2 million. Wow. I know. And I would just say to people, hello, Paramount, CBS, if you were smart, you'd figure out a way to put Picard Season 3 episodes 9 and 10 out theatrically. Release all 8 episodes, then make a month-long window where Picard Season 3 episodes 9 and 10 are released theatrically, then drop them on your network. See how much money you make. Black Adam made 4.48 million, so it has a total of 156.9 million. Domestically, Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts is up to 61.6 million domestic, and it made a lot foreign already. So I guess that's a pretty good hit for that movie. She Said, a very important film, a movie that I have to say, Universal, your marketing department sucks. Because if you can't market a movie like She Said, which literally has the subject of the movie, Harvey Weinstein, and his ongoing sexual assaults against women, he's actually on trial for a number of them right now in the United States. You couldn't capitalize on that, and everyone is talking about She Said being one of the best films of the year in the wake of movies like Spotlight, which was a Best Picture winner, and All the President's Men. If you can't market that movie, I mean, I know it's not an easy sell. That's why your marketing department should figure out a way to sell it. But you know what? Studio marketing departments, they don't know shit these days. Most of the marketing for movies sucks. Sometimes it's better because, let's face it, the people working at your marketing departments don't know fuck all about marketing movies. But that's just an opinion. Smile, by the way, another 1.5 million, making it 104.5 million domestic. Horror is back. Let's hear it for Walter Hamada and Paramount's new horror division. And let's hear it for James Wan and Jason Blum combining their companies into a super horror company. I got to get in on that shit. So there we go. Deets. There's your box office report for Sunday morning.
And I have seen Smile this week because it's out on Paramount Plus now. And I quite enjoyed it, but I wouldn't put it up in the upper echelon of my horror favorites of the year. So for me, it's not on the same level as X, Pearl, or Barbarian. It's a nice one. I'm actually quite surprised about his box office success, I would say.
You know what? You're out of sync, buddy.
I'm out of sync.
I'm seeing you out of sync. But that's kind of cool because it's like I'm watching a German film from the 70s. Hang on, let me see if I can get you in sync.
Test 1 2 1 2.
Now you're in sync. I brought you back in sync. Look at that.
You watched Smile this week. Nice one. Will pre-order opened. And finally, Rob.
Well, you know what? There's something wacky going on with your internet. Hang on. Let me see. Try it again. Hang on. Let me just cycle through here. Be like, what the hell, man? Why is the internet doing this? They're still doing it.
From my perspective, it's okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It keeps doing it. Hang on. No, it's some glitch in the Matrix. Hang on. I'm disconnecting you. Come back.
In the Matrix.
Just come right back.
God damn it.
Okay. And try now.
Test. 1 2.
Now you look good.
1 2 1 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Everything back on the wagon.
It doesn't matter. You're a foreigner. Okay. You can be out of sync.
So finally, I got around to play a video game again. I finished A Plague Tale Requiem, which is the sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence, a game that is really more driven by the story than its gameplay, and it's on Xbox Series X with the label with the Game Pass. So really nice one.
I just spilled beer on myself, dude. Live on camera. That was a fine head.
So for me, really nice game to play on with the Game Pass. And Rob, the big question, of course, is: have you seen 1899?
Not all of it.
Okay.
2 episodes, and I have to say, Dietz, once again, your Germans disappoint me. Actually, I shouldn't say once again, but because you've never disappointed me. But I'm a little underwhelmed. Beautifully made, snail's pace, and Dark started slow, but
Okay.
I mean it's intriguing. But it should be more intriguing than it is.
Okay.
And
I quite enjoyed it, I have to say.
did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm through with it.
Okay.
I'm already through with it. I'm totally enjoyed it. And what my big take of it was, one, I didn't know it was shot on a volume stage. So for me, this show reaffirmed the volume can work.
Oh yeah, no, look, the volume is a tool, and like any tool, if you know how to wield that tool, you can do a great thing with it. And I don't think, I mean, that is a great example of, and you know what, Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon was also a great example of how to use the volume stage. I was particularly taken with like not Robert, but Baratheon's at Storm's End, the throne room at the end of the final episode. That was all the walls were they used a volume stage. They did a great job. I think that there's a lot of people that just haven't. Right now, there's people that are using it as a crutch, not a crutch, but they don't. They're using it as a end all be all to fix. Well, we don't have to. You just need to use it right, and people are figuring that out. And some people have figured it out better than others.
Because I didn't know about that at all. I watched the show and I was really surprised.
Well, now
some shots.
But let me ask you, you did like it though, so I should stick with it.
I did like it, and one thing I would like to point out is just the internationality of the series. Because considering languages of the series, we have English, German, Spanish, French, Danish, Polish, Cantonese, and a little Japanese. And that for me is how more internationally can you get, and that is one of the big things that Netflix always is perhaps the best from the streaming service considering international markets. And this show reflects that for me the most, considering all the languages that are spoken in it.
Yeah, which is very cool.
Yeah. And this is one where I totally urge everybody to watch it, and of course in the original with subtitles, because it started for me complete with the English dub. I don't know why. And of course, the mouth movements were not right, and I was, something strange is going on here. Then I detected it started with the dub. I don't know why, but I quite enjoyed the series, and it has a 50-minute making of on Netflix, which totally was great too. And there I learned that it was shot on a volume stage in England, which at the Shepperton Studios, which I didn't know, and I wasn't even aware. I had no idea that it was shot with the volume stage. So I quite enjoyed it. Yes, it is a little bit slower paced, but I quite had a good time with it.
I think I'd like to mention. Oh, go ahead.
And one good thing, if the show doesn't get a second season, I can live with the final episode.
Okay, that's good to know.
So for me, it's not what I would call a big cliffhanger. If they don't do a second season, I can live with the ending of the first season. But there is enough stuff that they can go on.
Well, that's
so good. I hope that the show will pick up for you, because for me, I quite enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 for myself.
Okay, I'll stick with it. Then I'll stick with it. I was just, we have guests.
I hope it will get. But for me, it's just to see the big ships, totally black. I just love the little bit of the Event Horizon setting. What is going on.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
The mystery box, and for me, it was nice. It was nice.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Jason David Frank, who was both the green and the white Power Ranger, passed away. I believe he was 49. Was he 49 years old?
I think so.
Yeah, he was 49 years old, and he played Frank played Tommy Oliver in the first season of Power Rangers. So my shout out to his family and his loved ones. He died very young. Sorry for that. And also personal to me, science fiction author Greg Bear has passed away. and one of my favorite science fiction writers. I've talked about his work, The Forge of God and Anvil of Stars, many times on the show. He also passed away. He was taken off a ventilator, and he leaves behind his wife and his family. There's besides Forge of God and Anvil of Stars, which I desperately would love to see adapted. I would love to participate in any kind of adaptation. I remember reading an adaptation of his novel Blood Music. And it was, I want to say, when I was at CAA, I was at CAA, I was a reader at CAA, and I read a screenplay by director Louis John Carlino, who wrote The Sailor Whom Fell from Grace with the Sea, for Greg Bear's really, really out there science fiction novel Blood Music. And I remember liking the script very much. I didn't think I liked it as much as the novel. I mean, the book, but I thought it was great. And if anybody is out there and wants to make a really interesting horror sci-fi movie, Blood Music, but it would take quite a visionary to do it right. So anyway, there is a screenplay that exists somewhere in the bowels of CAA, written by Louis John Carlino, if anyone out there wants to find it. But shout out to Greg Bear. He will be missed.
And considering shows, Rob, have you started with your manifest, the season 4?
Yeah.
And tell us about it, Rob, because I don't know jack shit about it.
It's manifest.
Do you think they will stick the landing?
Dude, the show's never stuck the show. Here's the thing about Manifest. I love Manifest because it exists. Manifest is not good, and yet it's well made, and the cast. The show has spun off into ridiculousness, and I know you don't know anything about the show, but Manifest is what I like to call an impossible premise show, which means an impossible premise show is somebody writes a great pilot script. And the pilot script, it seems like it's awesome, but the writers have absolutely no idea where they're going to go with it. Their writing staff certainly doesn't know where they're going to go with it. And basically they make up the show as they go along. And it gets so far away from its original premise because the original premise was impossible to solve. There's no way you can satisfyingly solve the premise because the premise they came up with is patently ridiculous. So here's Manifest premise. A plane leaves from the Bahamas, vacation, people were vacationing, and it lands in New York 5 years after it left. So the loved ones waiting for their people to come home thought that they died long ago. So the people left in the wake of the passengers on the plane, some of them got remarried, they're in new relationships, all these things. And the people that landed on the plane are like, what the hell? What happened to us? 5 years went by. That could be a great premise, right? Mystery, how do these people travel through time? Oh, but Manifest decides to go further. So Manifest says then that the people that are on the plane suddenly start to receive what they call the callings. And they get images and they are compelled to reach out and help people that they don't know. Like Touched by an Angel, like you've got to go help somebody whose life they're going to either die or their life's going to somehow get tragedy in it. And you need to go. These people on the plane that have traveled through time are getting these callings from somewhere. And then they have to go help those people. Well, these two things, the plane and the callings, and then it just went from there. There's prophecies from it just because they can't. The idea that somebody's receiving callings would mean a couple of things that they can never explain in the show. That there is an intelligence of some kind out there that knows that there are people that need help, right? Then whatever that super intelligence is, that intelligence then has to find people that went through this time warp, and only the people from the time warp get the callings to go help these people, that they don't know. So the thing is, there is no super intelligence, or maybe there will be, I don't know. But even if there is, even if it's God himself, the two things never shall meet. None of it makes any sense. And they just keep adding this. One of the characters, there's another character that shows up, I think in the second season, who was in a cave and also went through a time warp that wasn't on the plane. Okay. But he was in a cave and he walked out a year after he went into the cave. Why? Who knows? What does it have to do with the plane? Does it matter? Does the writing staff know? Not really. So when you watch this show, they just keep adding gobbledygook to it all, and none of it. I mean, maybe and I haven't finished. It's the fourth season that it's been broken into two parts.
Yeah,
it's split. But the thing is, they just keep adding ridiculousness to it. and it doesn't work, and the thing is, when it doesn't work and you know they can make up stuff whenever, it's kind of like the thing about Lost is they just kept making up stuff, but they kept making up really intriguing stuff, so you're waiting like, hey, we're traveling through time. They had to, I mean, all you have to do with an impossible premise show is at some point, whether it's at the beginning of the show or the middle of the show, people will travel through time. How can they travel through time? Doesn't matter. They don't even need to explain it. Maybe a nuclear weapon goes off like in Lost and people just travel through time. They never have to explain that. Nobody seems to care. And the characters in the show, they never all get together and they're like, can you fucking believe we traveled through time? No one ever has that conversation. Like in Lost, all this stuff happens. And I kept waiting for the episode where all the characters would sit down and like, let's recap everything that's happened to us on this island. How the fuck can any of this happen? Doesn't matter. With an impossible premise show, they're never going to tell you anyway. They just make, so they intrigue you to death. They ask 100 different questions, 99 of which they don't know the answers to. So they make it seem like it's this really smart and compelling show, but it's really the writers just jerking everybody off because they have no idea. It's not like Vince Gilligan where they kind of know where they're going to go at the end of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. They know kind of these writers don't know shit. They make it all up as they go, and the writing staff isn't even the same. They hire new writers, and they come on. I'm sure the new writer's like, well, what do we need to do? And the old writer's like, doesn't matter. Just make some shit up. It'll be fine.
So I hope, Rob, you will at least be a little bit happier when you finished 1899 with the ending of that show during the first season. Or like my magazine calls it, Event Horizon on the Darks. On high seas. No.
There you go.
Okay. That's what Manifest. I started only the first episode. I think the second should be out. Tulsa King, of course, with Stallone. Totally loved the first episode.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So
but
much
I haven't
seen
the second.
Tonight.
Yeah. Okay. So where do we go from here, Rob?
Well, we could throw out some super chats. We got some super chats, quick ones. Our friend Alexander Wilson says, Rob, I saw Wakanda Forever in a Dolby cinema yesterday, the first movie I ever saw in Dolby. I think it's better than IMAX. Thoughts on Dolby versus IMAX? Well, Dolby is great. Dolby cinema, fantastic. The black levels, Dolby Vision, it looks amazing. I love IMAX, though, because of the large format. But if a movie is not either shot partially in IMAX or entirely in IMAX, there's no real reason to go to an IMAX theater, but something that's in IMAX, even when it's shifting aspect ratios. I think Wakanda Forever was partially shot in IMAX, though. I haven't seen it in IMAX, but that's why I go see IMAX films when they're in IMAX, like Christopher Nolan when he started using multiple formats, and the Marvel movies using some of it was shot in IMAX. I'd go to an IMAX theater, but for normal films, Dolby Cinema is the way to go. I mean, because they're tweaked, as long as the bulbs are bright and the theaters take care. Our local AMC in Burbank, their Dolby Cinema is amazing. It's amazing. Our friend Undead Sick says, let's be honest, y'all, Manifest is the B-movie version of Lost. That's being kind. That's being kind.
Okay. B minus.
And look, the reason that I love Manifest so much is not because it's good. I do appreciate the production values, and I appreciate the cast, all the cast. They need a SAG award for keeping a straight face. I mean, Manifest is just, and the self-importance that show has. I mean, everybody deserves an Emmy or a SAG. They'll never get one, but they should, because for them to keep a straight face. And the thing is, Manifest is a show that makes you think it's good. That's one of the charms of it.
Ooh.
You watch it and you think it's really good. You think like they'll throw something in. They'll like the hot Indian woman the doctor that I had a crush on. They'll throw me a curveball and be like, she's in a relationship with another woman, and I'm like, God damn it! I can't. I feel bad lusting after her. She doesn't play for my team or whatever. I'm like, that's what Manifest does. It pulls the rug out from under you and expects you to go like, wow. No. It's all just their trick. It's all a bunch of BS. But God love them. God love them. I was one of the people. Save Manifest. I'm glad you did.
I know.
Undead Sick goes on to say, this is true. It's a sad day for me because my all-time favorite show ends today. The Walking Dead ends its run after 11 seasons. But hey, I applaud that achievement, and I will at least get spin-offs. Hey, no Star Trek show's got 11 seasons. Plus, you've still got Fear the Walking Dead. You've got there's going to be a Walking Dead cooking show, I hear.
What? Okay.
Made that up. There's no Walking Dead cooking show, although maybe, it could be helpful for war-torn countries to know how to properly serve people. Could be. But hey, Walking Dead, I liked the beginning. First of all, the first 6 episodes of Walking Dead were amazing. And then it got to the point where I'm like, guys, why don't you leave and go to a state that's less populous? Go to Wyoming. There aren't many people in Wyoming. Just go to Wyoming. You could build a whole new civilization there, and there's not going to be many zombies. I mean, leave where you are. Cross the country. Go to where there's less zombies and nicer people.
Okay.
So the Great Walker Bake Off. That's what Bunyan Snipe says. Yes. Cook the dead, says Tim Hans. Cook the dead.
We're caught up with the super chats?
Yeah. Well, hang on.
Okay.
Nope, no tips. We're caught up with super chats.
Okay. Why don't we go to the live chat from there? So I say previously on Let's Get Physical Media. Mala, if I have Wakanda Forever on a USB stick, technically that's physical media, right? Nah, that doesn't count on our show.
No, a file has to be on a piece, has to be on a disc. I mean, theoretically, yeah, you can't make, you actually have to have, we're prejudicial against physical media. I mean, you could theoretically say that a zip drive or a whatever is a zip drive, a thumb drive, because I keep a zip disk. Remember zip disks? Remember those? But yeah, that doesn't count. That's somebody being cheeky. You got to have a disc. You have to have a nice, shiny, right? Shiny silver disc.
Exactly.
Or a tape.
Or tape. Exactly. So, wait, I will save that for last. Bill Barkley, will a Mexican Iron Man rant about Avatar 2 that we've already seen blue people in Black Panther 2? Okay, could be happening. Eucalyptus, can't wait to hear Rob's mom, Avatar 2 out of the theater reaction, Rob.
I said to people, I'm going to fly up. I think I'm going to fly up and do that. Say go to Avatar 2.
Great. Nice. Red Comet, kicking myself for not seeing Wakanda Forever in IMAX 3D. Okay. And considering you talked about the darkness of the movie, there were different comments in the live chat. NDH 1971, Black Panther 2 was very dark at my UK Cineworld showing. Couldn't see what was happening during the first fight and the underwater stuff. Okay. Mala, Wakanda Forever, 6 out of 10 for him. Wait, it's a little bit much here. Okay. Alex Thomas asks us, do you guys own all the MCU movies on 4K? I don't. I have some in 4K, but not all. You have... Okay. Rob has every movie in 4K. Okay. Mala, Riri was the worst part of the film. Pointless having her there. Okay. Lord Hoth, rents are a good thing. Then Mr. Bio says it was perfect for us in France, considering the theatrical experience. And Tom Jr. Jackson said, I didn't notice anything like that when I saw the movie yesterday. So it seems to be exactly very different, considering the darkness of the movie. Alex Thomas again, do you guys go out to Best Buy to get the Black Friday deals on 4Ks and Blu-rays? Of course, it's Black Friday week. For me, the problem is, Rob, the most of the titles I already own.
Yeah. I mean, Best Buy to me, the only time I go there now is when I pre-order a Steelbook. The last time I went there was to get Steven Soderbergh's The Limey with Terrence Stamp. I got that Steelbook at Best Buy, and that's the only time I go.
Yep. So this was a super chat. We should have gotten that. And then John Nelson 63 said the interpretation of Namor was brilliant. Okay. Altmetall said, didn't know that Highlander was a canon movie. Altmetall, I totally forgot that too, but I got reminded when I watched it that it is a canon movie. So let me just see. Okay. Weird Critter, no problems with the picture of Wakanda Forever at the IMAX 3D screen I was at. Okay. Okay. Boom. Lotto says, I'm also a good Canadian kid. I hope so, Lotto. I hope so for you. The Alex Sorber, I have 4K capable players. So you should be good to go for the future.
By the way, I just would like to point out that Highlander was actually not a Canon film, but it was distributed through Canon Films in the UK.
Okay.
And Highlander was actually Thorny MI Screen Entertainment, Davis Panzer Productions, and Highlander Productions. So it was not officially a Canon film, but they did pick it up for distribution.
So that's why it's got the logo in front of the UK.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Bill Barclay, anyone watched Warrior Nun Season 2 yet? Of course, Bill Barclay. I watched Warrior Nun Season 2 on Netflix. Totally had a great time with it, because if Mother Superior goes through priests like John Wick, how can I not say no to that? You know, nuns with guns, I'm there for it. So, Bill, I watched it, 8 out of 10 for the second season. Danny Pearson, I plan to binge Season 1 of Warrior Nun before I binge Season 2. Good decision, Donnie.
By the way, I would be remiss. I would be remiss if I did not mention, speaking of Warrior Nun, that Alba Baptista, who is the star of Warrior Nun, is dating Captain America himself, Chris Evans. So, way to go, Chris. Showing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You know the gossip, Rob. You know the TMC stuff.
I mean, it was funny because Elizabeth and I were watching. And I were watching, and she's like, we're watching TV, and they were talking about this, and Elizabeth's like, she looks like she's 19, and I said,
yeah, exactly.
I said for sure she's in her 20s, and it turns out she's 25, and Elizabeth's like, well, how old is Chris Evans? And I was like, that's interesting. I don't know how old Chris Evans is. He's 41, 16-year difference. And Elizabeth's like, see, and I got to say, my dad was 16 years older than my mom. Go dad. So, hey, just saying. There's your Warrior Nun. There's your Warrior Nun gossip for today.
Roman Schober. I'm too mean to pay for a super chat, but wonder what Dieter thinks about live music videos. Are they shot now in 4K at Wacken, open air, the famous metal festival here in Germany? I don't know, Roman, if they are shooting live video footage there with 4K cameras. Now, I would suspect that, but I can tell you about that. Danzig, 1979. I saw Black Panther, Wakanda Forever on Friday. Loved the film, but the experience was spoiled by a poor quality cinema, seats, screen, flooring, and a little kid coughing through the whole film. Okay, that can happen. Okay. Considering the Nope steelbook that I showed last week, Rob, Punking said that steelbook art deserves a poor internet connection because we had a little bit wonky picture quality. So considering that steelbook, you're totally right. Considering that. Just got home from seeing Black Panther. You are absolutely correct on the theater transfers. The beach scene was much more clear in the trailers.
Yes.
Told us, Rob. Marcus Bismarck loved Lost Highway, although I don't even understand the movie. That hasn't to be a negative point. If you can't understand something, it can always put in more replay value to watch it again, to try to understand it.
That's right, man.
Kondo 007. I canceled my Running Man 4K steelbook and bought a German regular release for the better 7.1 DTS audio track. Kondo, since I'm an audio guy too, audio for me always comes first. Okay. So, let me just see. Okay. Blue Rock 1701. I like Wakanda Forever. I thought it was a true return to dramatic form. Namor is the best villain they have had in a long time. Okay. And it's always nice if someone gives a shout out to me for a recommendation. And Blue Rock was there again. Dieter, thanks for the recommendation of the movie Fall. Quite a nail biter. Rented the Blu-ray this weekend and really enjoyed it, especially the special features. Yeah. It was only 15 minutes, but it was a great one. Rob, I have good news. Bill Barclay says Rob's not going to die. He live forever. Of course. You have seen on Instagram, he has his garden where he probably buried all the other Highlander heads.
It's true.
Rob Tucker, love the show, guys. Nice to know. Okay. Victor Fontaine, I was surprised to see Amazon doing a 4K release of Reacher Season 1. Figures they would just keep it on streaming. Well, Victor, Amazon put out a lot of their movies on physical media. So this is not the first one. And I think I read on Bill's website, but this is on an on-demand ordering. They will produce the 4K of Reacher on demand. And the normal Blu-ray will get released just as a normal stuff. So let me just see. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Video 100D, I think 4Ks are region free, right? From my perspective, yes, because I haven't come across one that wasn't. That would have.
I've heard that some, in fact, are. But,
yeah, but I
don't know what those are.
Haven't come across one. Just another red shirt. After Battle Royale, I don't take movie recommendations from Robert anymore. I don't know what to say.
Wait,
Battle Royale
what?
is awesome. Yeah, that was in the live chat, Rob. After Battle Royale, I don't take movie recommendations from Robert anymore. How can someone not?
First of all, who is this?
Just another red shirt.
How could someone like Just Another Red Shirt not like Battle? Like, I don't know, bro. I've never, ever, ever met somebody who didn't like Battle Royale. Are you sure you didn't watch Battle Royale 2 Requiem? How do you not like Battle Royale? You probably watch it without subtitles, didn't you?
I have no idea.
How could someone? I've never met anybody that didn't like Battle Royale.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised too.
Wow.
Bill Barclay. Well, the Korean sci-fi Netflix movie I want to see is Warriors of the Future. Yes, Bill, I have already marked it.
I think that's Chinese, though, and not Korean.
Okay.
I
think you're probably right, because I saw the actor and got reminded this is a Chinese actor, I think.
Yeah, I believe it's Chinese.
Yeah. So, let me just see. Gary Benjo Sandwich Worthington talked a little bit about Amsterdam getting a Blu-ray release, but was a flop at the theaters. I liked Amsterdam, the film. Okay. Tim Hens, Amsterdam bombed because Taylor Swift is in it. She's a jinx. Okay. And Joe Tyson, Amsterdam was only in my local theater like a week or so. My wife and I went to see it and it was already gone. Okay, that can happen. South London Reseller, Amsterdam is an oddity on paper. This film should have performed well. Well, sign of the times. Okay. So, then we talked a little bit about the cancellation of the Watership Down 4K. And Wilton Feinrad said, I've heard Watership Down was cut due to a funding issue. Austerity in UK.
Wow.
2 years in the bucket.
Yeah. No art. Art gets cut. Yeah.
2 years in the bucket. Love the show, guys. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thanks for your comment. Victor Fontaine, thanks Rob, thanks Dieter. The Sunday physical media streams are always a good time. Let you enjoy it. And Ricky B, great show, everyone. The PGS has been helping me as I lay in a hospital bed recuperating. So hopefully you're better, Ricky B, and glad the show can be a nice diversion from that. And Blue Rock 1701 has a little bit of a recommendation. I recommend the dark comedy The Estate. Anyone who lives in a wild family will appreciate it. The Estate, I don't know about that.
It's like Toni Collette and Anna Faris, and they want to get the money from Kathleen Turner. It looks really funny. I haven't seen it. It looks great. Great cast. David Duchovny's in it, and you'll it looks really good. It looks really good.
And now a little deviation, but I don't care. The last live chat, Eucalyptus Deeds. Are you not excited for the World Cup? Well, Eucalyptus, perhaps not really, but we have our expert here, the man who knows jack shit about soccer, but he did all those great tips considering the last great cup that was. And Rob, here I have it. The game plan, and I picked out 7 matches for you.
First of all,
to score.
I'm going to drink to the head of FIFA, and I want to drink to the great country of Qatar, who did a bait and switch, got Anheuser-Busch to put in $75 million, Budweiser, to sponsor the World Cup, and you can't even drink beer there. You can only drink beer zero. So the reason that I'm having a beer today on Let's Get Physical Media is in solidarity with all of my soccer hooligan friends, and I'm having a beer because you guys can't in that beautiful stadium that people died to build. So here you go, FIFA. Let's hear it for standing up for human rights and the rights of human beings to drink beer and allowing slave labor to build that stadium where you're playing the World Cup in, where those assholes won't even let you drink beer. And I understand. The FIFA guys, like, the head of FIFA is like, well, we have to respect local traditions. Yes, human rights violations and all of that. That's terrific. If that's what you want to do, here's to y'all.
I know a lot of people will boycott it, Rob, but nevertheless.
You want to know who I think is going to win the World Cup?
I have point out 7 matches that I want to know how these matches will go. And what has that to do with physical media? I tell you, easily. I pick out countries that produce great physical media. And of course, these countries are worth noting how they will do in the World Cup.
And my great ability to predict the winners of these matches. It's happened in the past.
Exactly. It's happening in the past. Even if you know jack shit, I have already marked it. This is Rob's.
Do you know why I know? Because I get soccer callings from the same people that give callings to the cast of Manifest. I know when people need help. And I don't even know what my death day is. So
I will put my scores in the comments, and Rob's too. If anyone wants to chime in, we can do a little bit of a poll and see at the end who gets to win. So Rob, on Monday, tomorrow, England is playing Iran. Give us your score.
England will win 3-2.
3-2, okay. Then, US boys, tomorrow, Rob. Playing tonight, USA versus Wales.
Versus who?
Wales.
Oh, Wales. Wales will win 4-1. Wales.
Okay. Then, Rob, on Friday, England versus the USA.
England will win. Well, they're playing even if US loses. England will win, and that will be 5-3.
Rob, we are not in the penalty kick phase. Okay, 5-3. What do I know? Okay. Then on Tuesday, France versus Australia. Australia
will lose. France will win 3-0.
Okay, 3-0 here. And then Clash of the Titans, Rob, on Wednesday. Germany versus Japan.
Japan will win as payback for what Germany didn't do in World War II. So Japan will win. No, actually, Germany's going to win 2-1.
You can.
Germany's winning 2-1.
2-1. Okay, 2-1.
Yeah.
And next week, at the same time as we have our show, Spain versus Germany, Rob.
Spain will win.
Okay, how much?
Spain will win 4-2. Spain has hotter dudes.
So I have your seven tips. I will put mine in the comments too, and the next week we'll do, and then we will get on with the other matches. Okay. This one for our World Cup.
Roberto Suarez says that they do allow alcohol in the VIP suites. Oh,
yeah,
great.
Exactly.
So as long as you're part of the 1% at the World Cup in Qatar, the sheikhs, they can drink.
Yeah.
What a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah. So we have the live chats. So Rob, should we show it on physical media?
We should. First, yes, we should.
Who starts?
Well,
Who starts?
You go ahead.
Okay. First one, A Cat in the Bag, which turned out not so great.
Uh-oh.
So I have no idea what the cover has to do with the movie, actually. The Devil's Workshop, American Blu-ray. I was looking forward because Ryder Mitchell and Emil Hirsch is in it. But the movie, unfortunately, not good. Not good, I have to say. Devil's Worship, 4 out of 10. Not really digging it. Then we have some weeks to go, but still a little bit in Christmas time. This came out in Germany. The remake, not the new remake, the between remake of Black Christmas, which comes actually with 3 discs, unrated, R-rated, and a European version. And it says on the back, this is the first time that the unrated cut has ever been released on Blu-ray. You have to mention that's the first time on Blu-ray because everyone already has the HD DVD for Black Christmas and in the unrated version. So this was a nice one with 3 discs. So the price was really fair for that one. And considering Christmas time, of course, I got my Christmas Vacation, the 4K, but I haven't checked it yet. Then the next one got a little bit mixed, or I would say bad reviews considering the 4K transfer. I got my Saturday Night Fever, and luckily there is the Blu-ray comes with it. So considering there was some reviews I read that even the sound would be lacking, but I didn't detect any big fall considering sound comparison between the two. The only thing that was curious for me, the movie has a certification in England 18 and the German 12. So, well, if you rape someone, I think 12 is okay here for the MPAA.
Well, it could be with suicide, bro. There is suicide in Saturday Night Fever. Someone jumps off a bridge.
Yeah, but why does this movie then get a 12 here, Rob?
Because Germans you guys don't care. You're kinky motherfuckers.
Yeah. We're censoring violence, but this one gets a 12. Unbelievable,
dude. You have real cannibals in Germany. Yeah, I can get a personal ad if I want to hook up with a dude, and he'll probably eat me. That happens in your country. Just pointing it out.
Yeah. The next one, I remember always the observation when you pointed out the Daily Wire putting out movies through Ben Shapiro's company, Run, Fight, Hide, and I was really looking forward to this one, and I stumbled across it that it was getting a release in France, and it is, of course, Terror on the Prairie with Gina Carano. She got canceled. So really nice Western, not something that will shake your booty, I would say. It was really brutal, but nicely done. Nice sound design, but it doesn't have any special features, but it has nice audio-visual quality. So Terror on the Prairie is out, at least in France, as a Blu-ray. So this was my first little take.
Okay, I'll go to. So I have yet to receive my Criterion order for Barnes and Noble, which was extensive. I'm still waiting on imprint in Australia, and my fucking Highlander discs. All right, Amazon UK. They were supposed to arrive on Friday the 11th. Yeah. Not only have they not arrived, it was two. I ordered 2 copies of Highlander and Louis Buñuel's The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, also in 4K. And they were sent to me by the Swedish courier Ascendia. They don't even have a record.
Okay.
I tracked the package, no record. No record. I ordered those Highlander discs the day they went up. I am getting tired of the incompetence of people sending me shit that I never get. It's really pissing me off. Just like David Lopan says in Big Trouble in Little China, this really pisses me off. It does. But you know what? You know what I did get in the mail this week? My man Matt at Kino Lorber hooked a brother up, and he sent me a package of Kino Lorber 4K discs that I'm going to break into 2 separate segments. And why am I doing that? Because he sent me 8 discs. 4 of those discs all are Paramount catalog titles. Now, I'm grateful that these movies, these catalog titles, are getting released in by Kino Lorber. Why does Paramount not want to release their physical release? Why does Paramount not want to put out their catalog titles on 4K? I don't know. Now, I watched all 8 of these discs. I sampled, didn't watch all the movies all the way through, but I did sample them because a lot of people were talking about the quality of the discs themselves. And I'm convinced most people who look at disc quality don't really know what they're talking about, because I read some crazy stuff from people all the time. So the first 2 that I want to talk about are Dressed to Kill and Usual Suspects. And by the way, both of these discs, Kino Lorber repurposed all of the previously existing special features, and they look pretty damn good. They're upscaled from standard def. There's a new piece with Tom Singh. And by the way, I do put these in my 4K discs in steelbook sleeves too. So these both look terrific. Best these movies have ever looked. Very happy with the transfers with both of those films.
Are they already out, Rob? Have they reached the release date, or are they?
Those are out. Those are already out. You can buy those. This, I think, comes out this week.
Okay.
Mystery Men,
yeah.
Now, I haven't seen this in a long time. This transfer was gorgeous. Great grain levels, great color. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but I need to shout out Marilyn Vance.
Something has the movie.
Yeah, the movie, it was fun. I only saw this once in the theater. It was really fun revisiting this. This disc looks great. And the thing is, the first Kino Lorber 4K disc I saw was Hannibal, and it was a terrific transfer. This is also a terrific transfer. It looks fantastic, the best the movie's ever looked. And again, a chock-a-block full of the original legacy special features, and they've done a pretty great job of up-resing them. Some graphics, like in our Suspects disc, our special features in our documentaries were always a little janky because we did them 20 years ago, and it was harder to put animation on still frames back then without it getting aliasing or whatever. But this is a really good transfer. If you like this movie, I highly recommend this disc. It looks incredible. And the 4th disc, now these are all, I have to say that Kino Lorber, thank you Kino Lorber, they actually say on the back of the disc where the transfer comes from. One of my favorite non-spaghetti Clint Eastwood westerns, because you're a high plains drifter, if you're a fan of the Beastie Boys. I love this fucking movie. It's great. And again, it doesn't say where this came from, but on the top it says Brand new HDR. These are all, by the way, Dolby Vision transfers. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision master from a 4K scan of the original camera negative. While this film does not look like a modern film, by the way, produced by Jennings Lang, if you're an airport fan, and I am, I love this film. And for what this movie does this look like as good as a modern film? No. But it looks the best I've ever seen it look, and the transfer, again, really, really, really good. So these first 4 discs they were not masters provided by the studio. Or maybe they got them from some independent. I'd love to know what the difference is, and I asked Matt at Kino Lorber, I wanted to interview some of their production people and talk to them about the transfers and where they're getting them. But these 4, the reason I picked these 4 is like Tom Siegel, the director of photography, supervised The Usual Suspects transfer. It's a 16-bit Dolby Vision master. It looks fantastic. And these others were all, it doesn't say that the studio provided them. The other 4 I'm going to show the studio did provide. They all came from the same place. They all came from Paramount. So I guess I could show those later.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some letters, Rob. Should we get into letter stuff?
First of all, let me just catch up.
Totally.
The Line of the Century sends in a super chat and says, "Hey, Robin Dieter, I recently watched Louis Buñuel's 1961 film Viridana, and I loved it immensely. What are your thoughts on it, and do you think it'll ever come out on Blu-ray in the U.S.? I've never seen it. I'm a big Louis Buñuel fan, which is why I ordered The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie on 4K, which, who knows, Ascendia? Those Highlander discs I ordered the day they were available, they're sold out. I don't know what you're going to do for me. But I ordered 3 copies, 3 discs, and I don't have them. Where are they? I've never seen that movie. But if you loved it, that's good. I will have to watch it. And look, at this point, everything's coming out eventually. So hopefully it will. Roberto Suarez, and by the way, if you don't watch Roberto Suarez's and Alex Montano's show on the PGS, their show is now called Que Pasa PGS. It's all in Spanish. But there's also a public service announcement on how you can watch it subtitled. So watch that show. Roberto says they do allow alcohol in the VIP suites, which I said. And Superhero Displays said they have fan zones where you can drink wherever fan zones are, but you can't drink in the stadiums, from what I understand. And Mala has been a member, an Imagination connoisseur, for 14 months. And I want to thank everybody. By the way, we did almost a 6-hour member call yesterday.
Yeah.
Longest member call ever. So we did that. But now I turn it over for you to give us the letters.
Okay. The first one comes from our friend David Kogel. And he says, "Hello, Rob and Dieter. As I write this on November 19th, it is approximately 3 months until your show reaches a milestone in the form of its 100th episode. It is never too early to make plans how to celebrate. How will you make this anniversary? Will each of you compile a list of your 100 favorite physical media releases? Will Dieter count to 100 in German? It will be boring. David, come on. Will the show last 100 minutes? I wish. Or will it be another episode without gimmicks, but still containing the witty banter and great camaraderie that brings the viewers back week after week? No matter what happens, I look forward to it. Keep up the great work, gentlemen." From David Kogel. So, David, I have actually at the moment not really plans if there will be something different.
That's a pretty 100. Good idea. We should compile our list of our favorite. You know what we should do? We should make it our favorite 4K discs, special editions, whatever, because that's where 4K goes to die. I mean, that's where physical media goes to die in 4K. So let's pick our 100 greatest
100 a little bit less, Rob. A little bit less, I would say.
Come on, dude.
100.
No, 100.
100.
Do it.
But without showing 100.
Well, no, we can just say what they are.
Okay.
And we'll do it in multi-parts. We'll do like 25 an episode.
Yeah. That could be possible.
You don't seem convinced, Dietz. You don't seem convinced. Yeah, our friend David Kogel has a good...
but 100 titles, because it's the 100 show, 100 4K titles to pick out, okay, which are the best. it's a tough one, Rob. It's a tough one.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
The next one comes from Pedro Ferrero, which was on the member chat yesterday. Hi, Rob and Dieter. Nice to speak to you yesterday, Rob. Unfortunately, my nerves weren't great, especially talking about an obscure, to Americans anyways, British children's drama. We ran out of time, but I was just going to say part of the reason I don't like recasting in shows where cast members are so closely tied to their roles, like in The Demon Headmaster, it would be like recasting the younger Harry Potter cast. I'm hearing reports that Jason David Frank has died at the age of 49. He is most famous for Tommy, the Power Ranger. I hope he hasn't died, but it's quite sad if reports of his suicide are true. So the reports of his death are true, but I don't know. The circumstances are not as far as I know at the moment. And he goes on.
I'm not sure. I don't know if he passed away via suicide or not. Yeah. Either way, it's unfortunate we lost somebody so young.
Yeah. And he continues, staying on topic, one of my continued frustrations with physical releases is that some films or TV shows are only released in certain countries. In the UK, we still have not had a release of films like the underrated road movie The Wizard and Peter Hames' Stay Tuned. Not even a DVD release. I'm not a big importer as I like dedicated regional releases. Sometimes it's a rights issue. For instance, in the US, a rights issue prevents the 1984 Steve Barron movie Electric Dreams being released, so you can get it on DVD over there. Yet in the UK, that isn't an issue and has had a great Blu-ray release of the movie. But it is annoying when a UK company like Arrow are allowed to release an extras-filled Blu-ray of The Last Starfighter, yet the country Arrow comes from can't get a physical release. Does this annoy you guys? Do you have any other examples, Rob, of films that can't get home media releases due to regional rights issues in the US? What about Dieter? Do you have any examples of films in Germany that rights issues prevent a home media disc coming out? Well, Pedro, at the moment, I don't have any title in mind considering rights issues. I would go the other way around, Pedro.
It's a great question. It's a great
considering
question.
Considering rights issues, that was one of the reasons that brought me to board that many Hunger Games, considering the rights were different studios, and so I get different cover variation, unfortunately. That was not so good for me. But Peter, from my perspective, you always have to respect the rights issue. If a company has the rights to a movie in that country, we'll have to wait. And that is why a multi-region free player is part of the game, considering physical media. Rob, your take on the rights issue?
So for those people who don't know, when movies are made, especially, it used to be this way more so than it is today, you'd make a film like an American company would make a movie, and then it would sell the film territory by territory around the rest of the world. Like for instance, the Benelux Union, like we sold Tango Shalom to Benelux, which is is that Belgium, Luxembourg?
Exactly, Rob, and the Netherlands.
And so it's the Benelux Union is Netherlands, Luxembourg, and
Belgium.
Belgium. So when we sold Tango Shalom to that territory, we sold it to a distributor there that gets the rights to release the film however it wants to, whether it's on cable or in theaters or whatever they want to do. And so a lot of territories, a lot of it has to do with language, because movies have to be subtitled in that language, or certain movies might appeal to one territory and not another territory. We sold Tango Shalom to Israel, for instance, because Israel is a small country, so to get a movie with an Israeli release is a big deal, especially for Tango Shalom. But nowadays, most companies they're starting, like Netflix is trying to retain worldwide rights. Like if you make a movie for Netflix, they own it worldwide. They're going to distribute it worldwide. So that's all changing. But in terms of the rights for other movies, they're all over the place, because that's sort of a vestige of the way the business used to be. And so, like, for instance, Basic Instinct, Paul Verhoeven's Basic Instinct has been released on 4K by Studio Canal in the UK, but it's not available here. Lionsgate has the rights to it here, and at Lionsgate there's wokesters that are like, well, perhaps this movie's offensive to the LGBTQ community, so we shouldn't release it, which is actually talk that's happening. So that movie is in 4K, has not got it needs a new transfer, a new color timed transfer, but is not out in the US. But that's okay, because I buy those Studio Canal discs in the UK because I have a multi-region player. But yeah, I mean, Arrow is a great company. They put out Videodrome in 4K, and they own a lot of the rights to a lot of movies that we don't have the rights to here. And like, I don't know. I know Angel Heart is coming out domestically, but like, I have the Studio Canal disc. American Psycho has never been released in 4K here. I don't think.
Doesn't it have a release date? I think it has a release date in the States.
But thanks to you, I've got my beautiful American Psycho box set. American Werewolf in London was out in Europe before it was out here in 4K. It's just the way it is. And I don't have a problem buying stuff all over the world. I'll go wherever I can.
Wherever the releases takes us.
And like, if you like a movie, you'll buy any release for it, wherever you can find it. How many Hunger Games discs do you have?
I have lost count, Rob.
Yeah.
Just because it's Lionsgate in America, it's Studio Canal here, it's Metropolitan, I believe, in France. And the right situation is all over the place, considering the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah, I know. But that means you can keep buying and buying and buying.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still trying to get the French release of To Live and Die in LA, which comes with a big book that I had ordered from, again, Amazon UK and Amazon France, Amazon Germany hasn't screwed me. But if I don't get these Highlander discs, I'm flying over there and I'm going to the Amazon headquarters and I'm going to make a stink.
Perhaps considering To Live and Die in LA with a 4K release, perhaps in France it will get renewed, the box, with the 4K. That would be a dream situation.
Well, it's true, because once something comes out in 4K, I mean, I have to decide what I'm going to do with my Blu-ray collections of things. Like, I've got multiple. I'll keep the media book you got me because it's cool. Yeah. But the other discs can go. I mean, I'll keep the Arrow disc just because it's interesting. But for me, if the 4K transfers are great, that's where my collection goes to die.
Exactly. So we have one last letter left, Rob, and it actually is a letter for observation. It says observation, but Mike did forward it to me because the topic is a little bit physical media related.
All right.
So it comes from Daniel Tomaszewski. So I hope he watches this show. Otherwise, Rob, I don't know if you have perhaps read it. And he says, "Greetings from distant Warsaw, Rob. As we all know, physical media market all over the globe is dying with thunderous applause. But I think that situation in smaller markets like here in Poland is even much worse than in the US. I was shocked yesterday as I visited one of the biggest malls in capital, and I found only one rack, including Blu-rays and DVDs displayed. One rack in the entire mall. To make things worse, in recent months, a couple of largest distributors in Poland withdrew from publishing Blu-rays, 4Ks, etc. I guess no one is buying physical copies anymore, what I find disturbing. Older generations in Poland do not count so much on streaming services as younger audiences. So from where can they gain new and older content? Of course, you can buy new blockbuster flicks via internet. There's a large second-hand market, and you can always buy things from other countries. But unfortunately, they rarely include Polish language version. Younger generation, including me, know English quite well, but older ones do not, which I think is a huge problem. I love watching older movies with my parents. My dad loves all Kurosawa work, old war movies like The Bridge on River Kwai, A Bridge Too Far, So Much Bridges, or The Guns of Navarone, and my mom loves Bogart's movies, for example. But you cannot purchase any legal copy of these old classical movies with Polish subtitles attached. And if you can, they're simply too expensive. Also, I find it really sad, I think this is the right term, that I can possess my beloved noir movies from the 40s only from some obscure pirate sites. Do you think there is still hope that this trend will change? Or are we gonna be forever dependent on what streaming services want or don't want to give us? I'm afraid younger generations will lose access to outstanding content from greater amount of cinema's legacy. Anyway, love your work. I'm a huge fan. I know you're a traveler and I know you're familiar with Polish cinema. I hope one day you will visit my small, beautiful country. Daniel Tomaszewski.
What a great letter, Daniel. First of all, not just Polish movies, but Polish science fiction. Stanislaw Lem, who wrote Solaris, is Polish. And my friend Chuck Bender went to his house and got the rights to Solaris. That's why he co-produced the remake with James Cameron. And my college roommate went to Poland and knocked on Stanislaw Lem's door and got the rights. Good for you.
Bought it on the spot, Rob. Bought it on the spot.
I mean, come on now. That German steelbook, or the German media book you got me and Dave, good stuff. Well, first of all, I think he brings up a great point. I mean, the real question is, and I think this is an existential question that most people don't think about, is why is human life worth living? I mean, aside from the fact that we're alive and we have to go through life and it's better than being dead, of course. But what does our quality of life mean? And the thing is, we have to give life meaning. Only we can do that. There is no meaning out there. Everyone's like, well, what is the meaning of life? We give it meaning. Each individual person gives themselves their own meaning. But what I think is important is that this is by my own personal philosophy of life. Go with me here on this. What I love is I love the product of what human endeavor has created. Art, first and foremost, and I use art, whether it's painting, sculpture, dance, music, film. All art contextualizes our existence. Like, you could, if we were primates, or I don't think my dogs are very aware of the passage of time other than when they're hungry. They know they need food. And sometimes Gilbert likes to watch a movie, but I don't think he realizes what's going on. But I think that our civilization must always endeavor to keep art alive. And the problem is now, in our great capitalist systems, movies require great amounts of money to make and great amounts of money to preserve, because the art that is created, I mean, it's not just you have a canvas and you can make a painting and hang it on the wall and it can be there for hundreds of years. But a movie are images that are in formats that are immediately deteriorating and they need to be taken care of. And I think that the problem is, because it requires money to take care of movies, there is a business aspect of filmmaking that is antithetical to just being art. It becomes a product, and it only makes sense for most people if there is a monetary return on movies. Hence why Kino Lorber, which I'll show, has 4 Paramount titles that they've recently released on disc that they gave to another company. It doesn't make financial sense for them, and which is crazy, because apparently they paid for the restoration of the 4K transfers of these movies. And then the other part comes from that movies are also a product of the time in which they're made. So very quickly, the fashion, the dialogue, the look of movies is very much of the time in which they're made. So unless we have a dedicated effort to preserve our cinematic legacy, it's going to go away. And unfortunately, I think that Gen Z is more interested than millennials were in the past, in music of the past, because I see, the reaction videos that people make of movies and music. They're more interested. They're delving into the past, I think partially because modern art does not move them, especially music. You go back and you start listening to pop music, rock and roll, whatever. when was the last time you heard a modern band really shred? When did you hear a Jimi Hendrix guitar solo or a Prince guitar solo or an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo that you stopped and went, wow, in a modern band? I mean, what, Greta Van Fleet or something? I mean, it's really interesting. So you go back and you realize that there's not a lot of great music being made today. So you go back in the past. The problem with movies is black and white, fashion, our culture changes so rapidly. Unless you're interested in it, are movies going to get preserved? Is there a monetary reason to preserve old films? Only if we do that ourselves. We and the people that are in power have to figure out a way to make the preservation of cinematic art, which has only lasted for 100 years, so it's possible to preserve all that's there, all that's left. Unless there's a concerted effort with money behind it to preserve our cinematic legacy, it's going to go away. And the problem with our movies, like the movies we love, the exploitation films, the lower budget genre pictures that we like, action, adventure, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, alternative, whatever, those films are never going to have huge audiences. So when you put them on streaming services, they're not going to be watched the way, say, Top Gun Maverick is watched. And what that will do is that will send a message to the people that pay for these things that not many people want them. And my fear is that these movies will then go away because when you start looking at analytics and streaming numbers, they're going to be like, well, people subscribe to our channel to watch Friends reruns, which is true. That's why Netflix paid $100 million to run Friends in 2019.
For 1 year, I believe.
For 1 year. Imagine how many films could be preserved with that same $100 million. I mean, if you think about it, it really costs to do a great 4K transfer and a midfield sound mix $100,000 a film. Imagine how many movies could be given a 4K transfer with the same $100 million that they paid as a licensing fee for Friends. So you have to look, you have to and understand it's that's capitalism, that's the world we live in. But Netflix is like, why would we spend $100 million to preserve movies when we could get our subscriber rates up or keep our subscriber rates by having Friends reruns for a year? And that to me, I stay up at night, dear. I think to myself, wow, Netflix could have preserved, how many great movies could Warner Archive have preserved with $100 million? And then HBO Max could then make a Warner Archive section that they curate and they have on their streaming service. And it's that amount of money, but who's going to ever, let's just buy Friends for another year? And it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, Warner Archive has Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and John Huston's Night of the Iguana, based on a Tennessee Williams play, coming out in just a few weeks on physical media. Yeah. So anyway, there you go.
And since we're talking about music, what I loved about 1899 were the end songs to every episode. I know, Rob, where Similitude got broke.
No, I'm with you. I liked it. I know.
Didn't exist in 1899. But come on, Sweet Child in Time. Come on, Deep Purple. End of second episode. Great stuff.
All right.
So, Super Chats, Rob?
Super Chats, we got Science Beat sends us a good job super sticker. Thanks, Science Beat. That's a very cute super sticker. Marcus Bisma's been a member for 6 months. Imagination Connoisseur. Thank you, Marcus. Science Beat goes on to say, sends in a super chat and says, you guys are doing great work. Great work, guys. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. 200 Watt Studio says, to live and die in LA is just not that good, Rob. You know what? I'm timing you out. What the fuck, dude? First of all, it is that good. And second of all, you're just not fully evolved enough to understand the greatness that is To Live and Die in LA. Now, look, here's the thing. To Live and Die in LA is not the greatest movie in the world. I will freely admit that. But for what it is and what it aspires to be, it is great. And I love it. And Wang Chung does the score. And why would you come onto my show, and insult my movie? Love you, buddy. Yeah. But damn it, you're wrong. Wait till you see it in 4K. Superhero Displays says, why is there region codes? Isn't a laser a laser? Well, interestingly enough, you have to think of Blu-rays and 4Ks more like computer software. And the reason they have region codes is because, like we just talked about, of distribution.
Right.
There are some, the countries that Arrow might release something in the UK that they have a UK distributor, and that's where they get the rights to release it from. Or they're the UK distributor.
Yeah.
And so Videodrome, owned by someone else here in the United States, which I think is, I mean, I get it, but those exist, so you have to abide by them. Superhero Display says, I sold every film disc I had. Tell me why I'm wrong. Well, here's why you're wrong. Because you don't have them anymore.
It's simple as that.
You don't have them anymore. I mean, you can't watch them anymore. No, and the thing is the thing is this. I can understand selling discs because they take up space, and a lot of people, who cares? People are putting them in binders, anything to cut down on the space. But I like the totem, of owning something, to pick it up and like, why am I putting Blu-rays in these beautiful sleeves? Because it makes
so your 4K's gotten even bigger.
Yeah,
than
they've got even bigger. So they make them. It makes them cooler. You put them on the shelf. It adds a uniformity to them because I do them in alphabetical, and I like it. But I understand most people don't care to have them. And to be honest, when was the last time? There are discs I've owned that I haven't watched in 15 years or more.
Me too, Rob. Me too.
And so let me ask you this, Dieter. Then why keep them?
You have what you have, Rob. In our archives, we always, if somebody would come along and would ask us, do you have this movie? And what an epic fail it would be if you would say, no, I don't have that.
That's what I say. If somebody wants to watch the X-rated version of...
Absolute nightmare.
I mean, if somebody wants to watch the X-rated version of Thriller, A Cruel Picture, I don't ever want to say, oh, I don't have that. I want to say,
have martyrs.
Thank you, Dr. Howard Yang. Yes, I have the Vinegar Syndrome disc. You can watch the full anal penetration scenes before she kills people. Yes, you can.
In our homes.
In our homes, that's right. So there you go. Let's see. Hang on. Wow, there's a lot of... Okay. Stub McShave is here. Stub McShave says, the volume reminds me of early CGI. Movies relied too much on CGI. After a while, they landed on a mix of physical and CGI. I see the same for the volume. I agree. I mean, it's again, when they have a tool, they use it. They overuse it. The thing about the volume is, I think they're using it to add production value, which I totally understand. But they're overusing it, but they'll figure out how to best use it.
But for me, considering 1899, for me, it just with the volume, it looks better than people in front of a green screen. It just looks better for my personal taste.
Well, because it's in camera.
And considering the making of Rob, of course, they had the volume playing, the waves. And actors were talking about they're gotten a little seasick, watching the waves go by.
No, it's true because just because they're fake waves, you're still watching the horizon line.
Exactly. So for me, it just looks better than people in front of a green screen. That is the big takeaway from me. And I didn't know that 1899 was shot on a volume. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. Chris C. says, hey guys, any news or rumors of Hulu's Prey or Hellraiser coming to physical media? I have not heard. I would love to buy both of those. Yeah, I have not heard. I would buy.
And Hellraiser is still only available in the US on Hulu at the moment, I believe. I don't think it has gotten a release on another streaming service internationally.
No, which is a bummer.
Yeah, totally.
Some old guy in Hollywood says, what? Kino Lorber sent you a box of delights before or after the prison break? Oh, definitely after. I had to get out of prison. Kino Lorber, thank you, Matt at Kino Lorber. I still have 4 movies to show, by the way. Terrier says William Friedkin will get you in your sleep. 200-watt studio. Yeah, man. Why are you dissing on Billy, Hurricane Billy? Why do you gotta be that way? Come on, man. Vixter 5001 said, I upgraded to a 4K UHD TV. Now I need a 4K player.
Right.
You do, because it'll change your life. It's amazing. Yeah. Stub McShave says, is there a financial model where a company like Netflix could do a restoration of a movie and get the rights to stream it for a year that it cost? Maybe, but the thing about it is I don't know if Netflix would even want to. The real question for Netflix is, would that drive subscribers? And that's their question. All of the streamers, Disney lost $4 billion on streaming. Netflix lost money producing. Here's what I don't understand, and here's what the streaming world is coming to grips with. If you make a movie, doesn't matter how much it costs. You can make a holiday movie for $5 million. You could make a movie for $100 million. You could make a Ryan Reynolds movie with The Rock and Gal Gadot for $200 million, or make The Gray Man for $220 million. Does that $220 million spent on The Gray Man translate over to subscribers? That's the only way Netflix makes money. Now they'll have ad-based tiers, so that's why they all have to add commercials. But I would argue that the cost of a movie does not translate to subscribers. How good the movie is and how interested the audience is in seeing that movie translates to subscribers. And what I don't understand is I believe that every movie is made more valuable with a theatrical release.
That's right. That's totally right.
And then the thing about that is you have to market that movie. And when people have heard of a movie, when it's a product that they're already interested in that they haven't seen, then they might go to a streaming service and subscribe. But what the streaming services, here's what they're dealing with. People subscribe to streaming services for finite periods of time, like to watch whatever show they want to watch for a couple months, and then they don't subscribe until they get to another show. And what the streamers want, the problem with that is that they don't get a streamer, like we have 100 million subscribers. If a streaming service has 100 million subscribers and all of them are paying, say, $15 a month, they know that every month they're getting $1.5 billion of cash flow in. But they're publicly held companies. They want to up the ante. They want to make sure they get, 1.6 billion. The problem with that is there's only so many households in the world. Eventually the world's going to be completely wired. Everybody that has a household is going to have a household, and the streamers are never going to be able. Your market's not going to get any bigger, or it'll get bigger, smaller, but it's not going to help you. And how are you going to? What you need to do, and what I don't understand is that streamers should concentrate on keeping the certain level of. They're going to reach a point of zero growth. What they're going to have to work on is keeping those subscribers there, because eventually there'll be nowhere to grow to. And then what they'll do is they'll jerk up the price to make more money to satisfy and it'll be an endless cycle. And eventually people will just say, nope, not going to do it anymore.
And there was just the explosion with the COVID stuff for the streaming services.
Yep. Yep. And, my whole thing is this. At the end of the day, what you want is your content, to own the content. And that's what the streamers are trying to do too, is own the content. That's why Netflix, they knew that they weren't going to be able to license Friends anymore. Whatever Warner Brothers owns Friends, so it'll go onto HBO Max permanently. Yeah. And eventually all the licensing deals will end, and everybody who owns this content. And then even that, again, we say on the show, I've said it a million times, how long does pop culture last? 20 years? Yeah. In 30 years, will Friends be worth anything? People be like, Friends is a very problematic show. It was very disrespectful to whatever fucking community is disrespected. Yeah. Because nobody wants to deal with. You know what disrespected humanity? History. The entire history of humanity has disrespected somebody. So eventually, you go back far enough, everyone's going to be offended by everything until people are finally over themselves and realize that history is history and we shouldn't be offended by it. But anyway. So to answer your question, Stubble, I don't think Netflix would ever pay money to restore a film unless it was something like The Godfather, which they could own in perpetuity forever. And that would probably never happen. But that's the only way that I could see Netflix spending money to restore a film. They would then have to own that movie forever, depending on how much it cost. Brian Sainer says, hey, Rob, have you had time to watch or binge the new Netflix series 1899? Dark, in my opinion, is better, but 1999 is still a great tension-filled mystery. Well, we've been talking about it. I just started it.
At the beginning of the show.
Based on Dieter's input, I will watch it. Glenn Mark says, hi, Rob. Probably not the right place to ask, however. I finished a letter for you, but at what word count do you start charging? The only reason we started charging for word counts is because people started writing us these really long letters that I probably would never read anyway about stuff that nobody would care about, and it just got weird. So we just figured, you know what? Let's put a word. So just send me as long as your letter is. Just DM me on Twitter or send it to me on Facebook or wherever. If you need my address, I can send it to you too. But yeah, that's why we just started getting crazy Ted Kaczynski letters. The Unabomber wrote these tracks, and I'm like, why are people? I mean, I would read them, but they were just a little weird. So send it to me directly. Teriyaki pigeon. Wow, would you eat one? Do you like teriyaki chicken?
I have no idea about teriyaki chicken, Rob.
No, okay. Teriyaki sauce? Do you have that? It's a Japanese.
Okay.
Sauce. Would you eat a pigeon if it had teriyaki sauce on it?
I don't know, Rob.
All right, I don't know. Teriyaki pigeon says, Rob, I was inspired by you to check out.
We tried it. We tried it when I come over. Perhaps you find a pigeon behind the house.
No, you're my pigeon. You've been my pigeon for years. But you can come over and I'll take you out for teriyaki pigeon. Teriyaki pigeon says, Rob, I was inspired by you to check out Star Trek. I've never seen anything Star Trek, and I watched Wrath of Khan. I loved it, and Montalban was amazing. Well, Teriyaki pigeon, even though I'm going to use a Star Wars metaphor, you've taken your first step into a larger world. Go back. You know what you might want to watch now that you've seen Wrath of Khan? Go back and watch the episode Space Seed from Star Trek, the original series, from the first season, the 66, 67 season, and you can see where they first met Khan, and you can see continuity and how it all works. It'll be a lot of fun. But I'm glad you loved it. It's such a great movie.
Awesome. Yeah.
Isaiah Ruiz says, Rob, Jason David Frank died, the green and white Power Ranger. Yes, we talked about that earlier. Yeah. It's very sad. It's a bummer. Kelvin Wellborn, who we saw yesterday, Kelvin Wellborn was here, says, hi, Rob and Dieter. I sent an email to you. Great MOC show. Well, thank you for that. That was our member call yesterday. That was amazing. It went on for 6 hours. Vixter 5001 says, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, upgrade to the remastered edition or the 4K. I have the Blu-rays with your glorious behind the scenes. Well, there are people that had problems, and there's a little bit of some issues with the 4Ks, but for the most part, those 4Ks are amazing, but the sound's incredible too. They don't have the special features on them. So if you like the Lord of the Rings movies, buy the movies in 4K and keep your Blu-rays. That's what I would do.
Exactly.
Science Beat goes on to say, I inherited my mom's DVD Blu-ray when she passed away. There are old 50s sci-fi and Hammer House of Horror and not available for streaming. I can put on one of those movies and think of my crazy mom. Well, first of all, your mom was not crazy. The fact that she had old 50s sci-fi and Hammer House of Horror, is that the green box set? First of all, your mom's not crazy. Your mom was awesome. And I'm sorry for your loss, but she was a great lady, and what a great legacy to leave you. So now you can watch Hammer House of Horror. Some old guy in Hollywood says, what about a variation on the Amazon Prime model? Some stuff is free with a subscription, and premium content costs extra. Discount on premium for subscribers. Also, the English is pretty darn good. Now, have you watched this show, The English, with Emily Blunt? It's I guess it's an English chick that comes to the Old West.
No, I haven't.
Everyone says it's great.
Okay.
I mean, it
was good to get recommendations.
Yeah, everyone says it's great. So, yo, I'll watch that. So far we are caught up. There are no tips. We are caught up on
a new one has gotten in, Rob. A Silly Goose says.
Oh, so you're
this
right.
Week I was finally able to order Event Horizon on 4K. I pre-ordered the Terrifier 2 4K from Best Buy and the Steelbook from Walmart, and I pre-ordered the Coraline 4K Steelbook.
Oh, Silly Goose!
Nice purchases.
Those are good. Those are all good purchases. Good purchases. Yeah. All.
So, Rob, let's show some physical media, I would say.
Go ahead. You up? Are you next?
Okay. I'm up. The first one, I know there was some troubling considering the color timing, but for me, the input was too expensive. I got a double package considering War of the Worlds and Youngest Day. I don't know what is the original title. New Worlds, When Worlds Collide. So this is the German digipack for both. So, but it's only War of the Worlds in 4K. I have to be careful. The swag in it, and it has this nice little pop out inside of it. So you got War of the Worlds in 4K, and When Worlds Collide is just a Blu-ray, and some little swag in it. I think there are postcards and some art cards, I believe. Just see. We have some black and white photos here. The movie. Little burnt bodies. Okay. They're quite shiny, I would say. On here we have the poster motifs.
I got to get that. That pop up alone is worth getting. I mean, it's my favorite. Look at that. That's the original American one sheet.
So really, really nice one. And then the last special edition. I saw Tim Hens in the chat already asking about my shirt. You know, one movie that has penetrated the pop culture.
Yeah, rub it in. You've been rubbing it in all show.
Yeah, more than enough. This just says Saarländer. No, the country I come from. There can be only one. Es kann nur einen geben. And of course, I'm talking about my Highlander set that I got. So there is a little bit of Schadenfreude.
God, you know what?
But of course, I didn't
rub it in, buddy.
But I didn't want, of course, that you didn't get yours, because I was expecting you will get yours way ahead of mine, because you did get your shipping notice way earlier than myself. So, of course, at first there was a little bit of Schadenfreude here to get mine actually before you. So here's the collector's edition finally of Highlander. Really happy with the transfer of the movie.
Which is a movie that's always looked like shit on home video.
Yeah. So here we have the outside of it. Here I have to be careful with all the swag. So we have the Blu-ray and the 4K.
I just want you to know this is very painful for me to watch.
So a little bit of Sean Connery on the inside. And here is the swag. We have the 4 buttons, which comes with some lines from the movie. It's better to burn out than fade away. We have that little comic strip inside of it. Little comic. We have the new poster artwork for the movie, which is great, totally great, love it. And we have the booklet for the movie. So this movie penetrated pop culture this much that we did get stickers. Saarländer. I can't tell you, Rob, how many people got a sticker on their car which said Saarländer. There can be only one.
Great. And you're making me feel great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Really.
Yeah. And the nice great. Lobby cards.
Yeah, great. It's fantastic. Sure.
Yeah, the Highlander set, Rob. Finally, I got it, Rob. Perhaps yours will show up again. I have no idea. Especially, I'm really sorry, considering one was going to John Campion.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good thing to see.
Here. You think I can ever tell John Campia that the one physical media thing I ordered for him to play in his home theater didn't show up? You know what he's going to say? Yeah. He'll go, "Gosh,
I told you.
I've never had anything. I've never, something I've wanted to stream that never not shows up."
Yeah. God damn it.
God damn it.
So this was my last two releases for this week.
Well, my next again, Matt at Kino Lorber, he sent me these 4 Paramount titles. One I've actually never seen. I've never seen this. The Score. Angela Bassett, my love, Robert De Niro and Ed Norton. And this is the only time that Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro ever appear together in a movie. Believe it or not. Nope, not in The Godfather. Adrian Lyne, who I love, Indecent Proposal in 4K with an Adrian Lyne commentary. By the way, I watched this whole movie.
Is the commentary new, Rob?
I don't think so. I don't think it's new because I've never owned this movie before. This is not a great movie. This is not one of Adrian Lyne's finest efforts, but that's okay. I did watch it, and it's a little dated, although Demi Moore is smoking hot in this movie, so good for you, Demi. Okay. Something I'm so happy to have, both the director's cut and the original cut, Tropic Thunder, with 2 different covers. The O-ring is different than this is great. And again, this disc looks and sounds incredible. So it's great to get this.
But only the theatrical version is in 4K.
That's correct. Only the theatrical version's in 4K. Because they probably didn't do they probably finished it on some video format. But still a great disc, looks great. And again, this is a classic Paramount comedy. The fact that they would outsource this, I mean, I guess that what I want to know is Kino Lorber is getting these transfers. Like, Paramount didn't want to release this. I mean, they're releasing Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, but not Tropic Thunder. I mean, maybe because it's very niche and it didn't do the kind of business they want. I'm sure they're looking at numbers, analytics numbers, but I don't know. I mean, I love
the ones you've shown, and with the Demi Moore one, are well-known movies. They are not.
They're not. No. They're not slouchy movies. And then of course this, which I hadn't seen in a while, and again, this transfer is great. Escape from Alcatraz.
Ooh.
So that was the 4th, and again, I want to thank our sponsor, Kino Lorber Home Entertainment, for sending me 8 4K discs.
Nice.
And I do want to say, as far as Kino Lorber is concerned, I want to give a shout out to Matt at Kino Lorber because they reached out to me for the show, and that was nice. Because I've never sought out free swag or free discs, but that was very nice, and they do a great job. I mean, Kino Lorber does a great job, and all those titles look really good. I mean, as I said, High Plains Drifter looks like it should look in the 70s. It's not going to look like your Pixar movie in 4K, but
it doesn't look like Unforgiven, I presume.
No, it does not look like Unforgiven in 4K.
Okay.
It does not. But it looks good. It looks good for High Plains Drifter. I'd forgotten that in that movie, in the first 10 minutes, Clint Eastwood kills 3 guys and rapes a woman, and I was like, wow,
nice starting point.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it delivers the goods. So thank you, Kino Lorber, and that's what I got. Hopefully next week I'll have my Criterion discs to show, and hopefully Highlander. Please, Ascendia, you Swiss company or Swedish company, whatever. I think it's Swiss. I thought you always made, like the Germans, the trains run on time. Where's my goddamn box?
Yeah.
And you can't even... I'm tired of it. Would you like to hear the news?
Yeah, Rob. What is coming out? What do I
Well, first of all, for you Peter Jackson fans and you German fans, Turbine, one of our favorite companies, Turbine, is releasing a 6-disc 4K version of The Frighteners that is chock-a-block full of stuff, and it comes in 2 different versions. You can get this version where you see the main cover is in, it's got the classic, actually, no, I should go back the other way. Pardon me. Look, there's a difference. There's this cover and there's this cover. So here you have the original. I always love this image, the original white cover, the original key art, and then they created new artwork for the disc, which you can see in the fold out. And then they did make a new cover, so you can choose from Turbine, and you get a poster of the main artwork. One is the original, if that's what you want, and one is this new artwork that was created. But everything else is the same. So Peter Jackson fans, get on this, and unlike some Turbine discs, they must have the worldwide rights. They created a new documentary for this release, which I can't wait to see. And you can order it off their website now. You can, one of 2, and they ship internationally. So here you go. That's pretty cool. And
different limitations considering both sets, Rob.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The newer artwork has a smaller limitation than with the original artwork.
So you mean more of a limited pressing, limited run?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Wow. So I guess you went for the limited, didn't you? Yes, you did.
Yes. But I just like the cover more. I didn't know that it was the more limited one. I find that out later.
Okay. Sony, always good for a great 4K transfer. Releasing Get Off My Plane. Releasing Air Force One. Little new artwork there in a steel book. So there we go. Harrison Ford, which I've always thought it's not his same name, but this to me is the 3rd Harrison Ford Jack Ryan movie when he's become president of the United States. They could have called this Executive Orders. I would have been fine. So there you go. And they're also releasing a terrific film, the original Mask of Zorro movie, where I love this film. I thought it was great. And Catherine Zeta-Jones delivers a great turn in this movie. So there you go. Mask of Zorro coming out 4K Steelbook, which is very exciting. A movie coming out on Blu-ray that I particularly love is Peter Weir's Gallipoli. One of the most, first of all, if you've ever seen this movie, it has one of the most haunting final shots in any movie ever. But this is a movie that not a lot of people know about because I don't know if there were any Americans that fought in Gallipoli, or at Gallipoli, but the ad line is, "From a place you've never heard of comes a story you'll never forget." This is an early Mel Gibson turn when he was a young whippersnapper in Australia, making movies for Peter Weir and doing Mad Max for George Miller, so that's cool. And then, Dieter, okay, I knew this was going to happen. But it still pisses me off. Criterion, which has been saying, from a new 4K master for years.
But just a Blu-ray.
Yeah, and now the fuckers are releasing all these things in Blu-ray. And you know what? I get it. But they know that Criterion fans are going to go pick up those 4K discs, and I'm one of them. But I'm annoyed by it. I'm annoyed. They should have jumped into 4K a lot sooner. The fact that and they make their discs, because they're not retooling the printing, they make the discs look exactly the same as their previous Blu-ray releases. Exactly the same. So I'm always going, which one is which? So Criterion has announced, yes, Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused. And by the way, this is a great disc. I have to get this in 4K because I love this movie. I mean, the answer, I mean, let's be clear. I'm sure there are people that watch this show and ask, well, why do you have to get this in 4K? Really, can't you just, the answer is, no, I have to get it in 4K because 4K is better.
There you go. Easy peasy.
That's it. It's like Spinal Tap, but this goes to 11.
It's not rocket science, Rob.
That's right. And our Polish friend earlier asked about Polish films.
Yeah.
Krzysztof Kieslowski's Three Colors trilogy, blue, white, and red. Oh, boy. Does this look familiar? Yeah, it should, because Criterion already released it on Blu-ray. But now they're releasing it in 4K. And these are great. How can you not want these in 4K? They're stunningly beautiful films. And by the way, they were made for Polish television, so I don't know if they could ever be in 4K, but I would love to get Kieslowski's Decalogue in 4K because I love it. So there you go. That's coming out. Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet. Again, as far as I know, this is coming out on Blu-ray. This movie is this is a beautiful film. I love this version of this movie. I want it in 4K. Why Criterion are you releasing anything Blu-ray only anymore? Why? I don't understand. Can I be mad? Are you mad? I mean, don't you think of Criterion? I don't want to buy any Criterion titles that aren't 4K. Exactly. I will, but I don't anymore. If you're not going to release it, like I had to go buy the Wings of Desire 4K Steelbook somewhere else, bro. So anyway, what are you?
You always live under the constant fear the 4K will get released.
Yeah,
especially when you probably waited to buy the Blu-ray at a Schnäppchenpreis, Rob, and then when you have it, it will get announced.
Yeah, man, come on.
Part of the deal of being a collector.
It sucks. Speaking of being a collector, Severin releasing Dario Argento's Four Flies on Grey Velvet in 4K. Woohoo! Go Severin. I'll buy anything Severin puts out just because they're Severin. They do not sponsor this channel, but go Severin. You know, I'm a big proponent of their recent re-release that my friend Clark Von Trotha told me about. Clark calls me up and he goes, "Hey, thanks for giving me a shout out on every episode of Let's Get Physical Media." Well, once again, Clark Von Trotha told me about the House of Psychotic Women, another great Severin box set. So thank you, Clark, and thank you, Severin, for doing that. So that's exciting. If you don't have that, you should get it. This was kind of cool. Also coming out from Severin, Alex de la Iglesia's early 90s movie, Acción Mutante. I like this movie. I'm a huge Alex de la Iglesia fan. If you haven't seen this movie, first of all, I love this cover. I don't know if this is actual artwork that was done in Europe for this movie, but wow, Severin, Alex de la Iglesia. They put out other, Day of the Beast. Yeah, so that came out, so it's good to get that. Woohoo! Very excited to get Acción Mutante, or however you pronounce it. Kino Lorber, our boys, the unofficial sponsors of this show, but I want to shout them out anyway because wow, look at this. Kino Lorber, oh yeah, is putting out The Terror from Beyond Space. Thank you, Kino Lorber. I love my 50s sci-fi. This is one of my favorite 50s sci-fi movies. You know, little inspiration for Alien in here. The Terror from Beyond Space is one of my favorite sci-fi monster films from the 50s. Kino Lorber's going to, pull out all the stops. So you go, Kino Lorber. Very excited. And then, of course, Kino Lorber is also, if you don't want to wallow in the 50s muck, you can go to The Story of Adele H., Francois Truffaut's movie starring Isabelle Adjani. I haven't seen this movie in ages. I used to see it like early in the 80s on cable or whenever it first came out. But hell, I'll buy it. It's Kino Lorber. Maybe they'll send it to me. Who knows? Because they sponsor the show. It's not in 4K, but I'll buy it anyway. Because who knows when it will come out in 4K. But The Story of Adele H., I'll buy that. Moving on to the UK and Eureka. Violent Streets, Japanese gangster movie from the 70s. I'll buy it just for that cover. But Eureka is always great. Great transfers, great package. You got to love that. And not only that, putting out a Chinese film, The Magnificent Warriors, classic Chinese cinema with Michelle Yeoh. And you got to love that. Classic.
States, I believe, Rob, in December.
It's coming out in the States. I just thought Eureka. We had a question. People are like, Pedro was like, well, what do you buy? Which region you buy? Well, you can buy both if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet the Eureka package probably has more in it, though. Just a guess. Don't know. But I like that cover. It's cool. And then, of course, the American one has a good cover, too?
Yeah.
All right. These are only on Blu-ray, not on 4K, but they are releasing for you bargain Schnäppchen hunters. They're releasing Dario Argento's Symphony of Fear, 3 films, Suspiria, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, and Opera. All 3 of those movies are classic Argento. If you didn't want the 4K or you don't have a 4K, hell, why not? There's a lot of special features on those discs. Why not get them? So those are the ones I chose to focus on this week.
Yeah. And Dave Parker was in the live chat, and he says a rare Argento movie, 5 Days, is coming out too.
Yes, we talked about that last week. But it is, and that's very exciting. Now let's look at the sales figures.
Okay.
Once again, not surprising. These are the top 10 Blu-ray. These are Blu-ray sellers for the week. Top Gun, Doctor Strange, Top Gun, the 2-movie collection, Thor, Love and Thunder, The Batman, Jurassic World Dominion, Elvis, Spider-Man No Way Home, Dune, and Nope. Those are basically the biggest hits of the last year. All out, still selling well on Blu-ray. Not a surprise at all. So there you go. Look at that. That's 1, 2, 3. Look at how many comic book movies you got there. That's pretty, there we go. Well, there's 4. There's Doctor Strange, Thor, Love and Thunder, The Batman, and Spider-Man. So then you got Nope, sci-fi, Dune, sci-fi, Jurassic World Dominion, sci-fi, and then, of course, Top Gun is basically Top Gun remake. Top Gun Maverick is a remake of Star Wars, but it's great, and I love it. The 4K disc is amazing. So no surprises there. The top 5 home media sellers, this is in all formats. And lest we forget, like at the top of the hour, here are the top 50 disc sellers and the market share. This was the week ending November 5th. This comes to us from NPD Video Scan, Media Plays News Research. So for those of you who don't get sales figures and how things are working, still, this is the DVD market at the beginning of November of this year, November 5th. 43% of the discs sold are still DVDs, 32%, 32.5% are Blu-rays, and 23 are almost 24 are 4K discs. So that's how the physical media market. So still, by a wide margin, DVD is still the biggest seller. That shows, most households in America, there's only 23% of them that have upgraded to 4K or that are buying 4K discs. So that's kind of a bummer, but there you go. Now we've got, these are the top 5 home media sellers total. So these are the biggest selling discs of all. And then you see a percentage of how many of this is Blu-ray. So Top Gun, Thor, The Grinch, which is seasonal, brought back, Doctor Strange, and Bullet Train. Not a... But it's interesting because if you look at the market share, more new movies are being sold on Blu-ray than this pie chart represents. And that's because probably a lot of kid stuff, catalog titles are still bought on DVD. Like Grandparents, they have a DVD player, so they buy it for their kids or whatever. I don't know. Then, of course, our favorite, Dieter, the 3D bestsellers. Number 1, Polar Express with a huge number. The percentage of total units sold, 8%. 8% because it must have just been re-released on 3D, and the people that like 3D. I mean, bringing up next, Dune with only 0.6% and Top Gun 3D 0.4%. Both of those, I have both of those discs in 3D, and both are amazing, even though they are post conversions. I do not have Polar Express. And then finally,
about this title getting re-released and is selling somehow.
because we're starved. We're 3D starved, Dieter, and for us crazy people that still like 3D, we're what can we say? And then finally, the top 4K. By the way, this makes me proud to be a movie fan. This one goes out to, of course, the great George Feltenstein. Number 1 4K for the bestsellers ending November 12th. Number 1 4K, Casablanca in 4K. Number 1, where it should be. Edge of Tomorrow, All You Need Is Kill, Live, Die, Repeat, whatever you want to call it, came out 4K, which, by the way, it's a great 4K. 92%. Then Ambulance, Michael Bay's Ambulance came out, and bargain, 79%. No, there's no bargain bin 4Ks. Come on. Lost Highway, Criterion Lost Highway, by the way, 78%. So that's a big, the people that are buying 4Ks, obviously film connoisseurs putting Lost Highway. I mean, you go, David Lynch. No one ever thought that would happen. Lost Highway is number 4 from Criterion 4K, and bringing up the rear because people still love Sandra Bullock. The Lost City. It's 76%. So that is all the news that is fit to print. Those are the sales figures, sir. And
nice.
let me go in and see if we've got any. Elizabeth is
Super chats left.
Let me see. James Evan Travis Hinton says, I may have missed it if you've already weighed in, but what did you all think of the blowout 4K disc if you've seen it? I have not. Is that the Criterion?
Me neither.
That's interesting because I did not put that on my Criterion. And now I'm going to go back there and 4K, it's added to my cart. I don't have it yet. I will have it, though, shortly. I'm sure it's great. I don't know anything about it. I haven't looked at it yet, but I just realized it wasn't on my list. So there you go. I love Blowout, so I hope it's great. And
does it have a Black Friday Schnäppchenpreis?
Yes. It's well, the Barnes & Noble sale, the 50% off sale is going on. So there you go. And that takes us to the end of Super Chats. Let me just check tips.
Yeah.
I think we're good. I think we are good.
Probably even the end of our show. But Rob, I forgot something, and I'm totally sorry. Considering the football tips, Rob, I forgot one of the greatest countries. South Korea, Rob. I forgot. Uruguay is playing South Korea on Thursday, Rob. I need your tip for Uruguay versus South Korea.
Look, as much as I would like to stick up for my South Korean brethren, I've actually been to South Korea. I love South Korea. And, of course, Blackpink is from South Korea, although Lalisa is from Thailand. Who cares? I got to go with Uruguay, man.
How much, Rob?
It's going to be 3-1.
3-1. Okay. What I will do, I will put Rob's tips in the comments and mine too. If somebody want to chime in with those few.
By the way, my comments are gold. Gold. Gold, I'm telling you.
Exactly. What I will do is for the right outcome, you will get 4 points. If Rob has the right outcome, who wins, and the right goal difference, that will get 2. And if you just had the right outcome, that will get you 1 point. Of course, ties doesn't count as the same goal differences. So that's what I will rate this. Anybody who wants to chime in, I will put that in the comments. Just put your tips in there too. But be quick, because the first match is probably tomorrow, and I only can rate it if it's already in the comments then.
You can take that to the bank, buddy.
Yeah. You will see how good Rob is doing again. With his check shit knowledge.
Don't bet against Burnett. That's what I say. Don't bet against Burnett. Yo.
I've lost that the last time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
You think I know nothing about football?
Yeah.
You're wrong. Now that the World Cup is raging. Come on.
With boycotting and everything else. Okay.
I guess that's it.
Rob, that's it. Which is fine for me, because I have early shift tomorrow. So a little bit short on time. So from my perspective, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen. And from the two of us, keep those discs spinning in 4K, hopefully. Right?
Yeah, totally.
There we go.
Make some Schnäppchen for Black Friday.
Black Friday Schnäppchens. All right, we'll see you on the next video.